So, Donald Trump emerges as the 47th president of America. I am really excited. Personally, I am happy because I told my friends that there's no way Kamala Harris can win. At the time where America is very vulnerable, you want to give what power to a woman like Kamala Harris that does not know her left from her right. It didn't make any sense to me. You know, they started selling different propaganda against Trump, that Trump does not like Africans. If he becomes the president, Africans will no longer have access to the US, blah, 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 blah. My own question used to be like, what do you want to go and do in the US? Your professionals should stay in Africa and work in Africa. They can go and gain knowledge outside, come back and implement what they learned. But that's by the way. Now, politics is a game of interest. Do you understand? What is my own interest? This is my interest.
I am fulfilling my dreams and becoming a pregnant dad. In the beginning, I had a few complications. She's been growing.
This is what I don't want to be seeing. Under the supervision of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, this world have crumbled down. Everything has turned upside down. All the wrongs started becoming rights. In America today, they have now started gender reassignments. For children, let's leave for adults, for kids. Do you know how crazy that sounds? Do you know how crazy that is? Parents telling their children that you are a cat.
My son does identify as a cat, but I cannot take him to a vet because I tried that, and the veterinarian told me that because he has human anatomy, that he does not know how to work on him or diagnose him with anything, and he legally cannot. So, and while I do think that is a form of discrimination, because, you know, my son, if he says he's a cat, he is a cat.
My child is a cat. My child is not a human being. My child identifies as a cat. I watched that video that day. I was like, what is going on? They started putting all these things in cartoon, started teaching same sex to children, to toddlers, children in primary schools. Putting it in their cartoons that it's okay for a man to kiss a man, it's okay for a woman to kiss a woman. Do you understand? It was okay when they were doing all these things in secret. It became crazier when these people started trying to force it into the other part of the world, like Africa. They tried to force it in Ghana. I think they later ended up doing it. They tried to force it in Nigeria and in Uganda. The immoralities that came with Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. No wonder all those celebrities were following them. Beyonce, this one, all of them. We endorsed Kamala Harris. I was like, But thank God for the reasonable Americans that decided to pick the right person. I don't care. No matter how racist Donald Trump is, I will pick Donald Trump over Kamala Harris 1 billion times. That's number one. Number two, under the supervision of Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, the world economy sunk. Because this war between Ukraine and Russia was avoidable. But instead of avoiding it, they kept on sponsoring it, pumping money and sponsoring these wars. Claiming the lives of innocent people, claiming a lot of people, family, mothers losing their children, wives losing their husband, a lot of things. Because of this war, Ukraine and Russia, look at the price of gas skyrocketed around the world. Around the world, under their supervision. See Israel and these people fighting under their supervision. Do you understand? So Trump coming into office, I want to believe that a lot of this, especially that war, stop all these lives that are lost, would stop. But my own interest, like I said, politics is a thing of interest. My own interest is this thing that they are doing to these kids in America. They are not giving them the right to choose who they want to be. Parents are beginning to choose for them. That's my own interest. I don't care about every other person's own. Just like in Nigeria now, the person I got interested in during the presidential election was Peter Obi, not because I like Peter Obi. The reason why my interest of Peter Obi is this, right? If Peter Obi becomes the president and if after 4 years he does not deliver, it will be easier to remove him from office. Do you understand? But we try everything. When they announced the results, we carried placard, we protested, hoping that the protest will be big as NSAS so that they can do a rerun. But it didn't work. Do you understand? So my interest did not work because I know say Don Jagger Python. If you collect power, if you not do it here, there's nobody if you do anything, bruv. That is why. So shout out to Donald Trump. Even though you don't know me, I don't know you, I don't send your papa. But for the interest of the world, that's why I want you to become the president. At least nobody will be bossing Africans up that they must be agege. Nobody will force the same sex on us. Nobody will try to teach our children all those things, that it is okay for them to start doing all those things at those gender age. Nobody will nobody start teaching children that they have any other gender apart from male or female.
Hello guys, welcome to the show. I hope everyone is doing just fine. Now, I saw this VDM video and I heard the thing he said and I can't help but comment about it. Sometimes I hate to see people being misled. I hate to see people over-exaggerate situations. And I hate to see people who are influential, who are so popular, and who have huge followings put certain informations out there that might mislead their followers. It was the same thing I said about Daddy Freaks when he was being so homophobic and talking all kinds of trash against people he considered to be agege. I really hate that word agege, but since it's a word that most people can relate to, I'm just going to use it. I really don't like it. That the phrase was saying that someone who decided to keep themselves clean was maybe an agege. So if you decided to make yourself clean and look good, then people might construe you to be an agege. That was really, really misleading. And many people in Nigeria believe things like this. Many people, they hear from popular people whom they consider to be smart, and they believe it. Now you can see how VDM is also doing the same thing here. VDM is making all kinds of allegations and just spreading very wrongful information out there, and I don't know if he thinks about how destructive such information might be to his viewers. Now let me take a step back. I have always found VDM to be someone who is way more smarter than myself. I have always acknowledged that VDM has done so much for our society than any ordinary person have done. And VDM is ready to go further when it comes to helping common people in our society than the most of us would do or would go. I am someone who gives credit where it's due. I have no problem saying I was wrong if I saw that what I said was misleading or was wrong. Now, he said that he found it stupid that power could be given to a lady who doesn't know her left from her right. What does that actually mean? That a lady cannot do the job of leading America? We have had female leaders, and they have done fantastic job. I believe that women can rule, women can take charge, women can do great things. Now, the administration of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris might not have been great, but it wasn't Kamala Harris' fault. She was only the vice president. What can a vice president do? They are subservient to the president. They serve in the honor of the president. They do the wishes of the president. And that was why Kamala Harris couldn't do anything that wasn't in line with Joe Biden. How come he didn't get that? How come? If Kamala was the president and things went really, really wrong, we all would blame her. She wasn't the president, she was a vice. The same thing in Nigeria. What can the vice actually do? What can they do? They cannot go against the wishes of the leader. They are but device. VDM should know that. And by the way, I really hate it when people are condescending towards fellow human beings. When some African men think that women cannot serve or women cannot lead, I really don't like it. Like I have said before, I believe in gender equality. I was raised by my mom and my dad, and my mom did a fantastic job. I can even say for a fact that my mom contributed to my well-being and for me becoming the person who I am today, 60 or 65%. She did way more in terms of upbringing and control and leading in our household than my dad did. Now, my dad paid for our fees. My dad makes sure we eat. But my mom instilled in us values that are very, very important. She made sure that the house was in order and the children toed the line. Women can lead. So VDM should not be talking down to Kamala Harris, be saying a woman who doesn't know her left from her right. That is really poor. The next thing he mentioned was about turning society upside down, saying that Democrats or Joe Biden and Kamala were the ones who turned American society upside down. Well, if you haven't noticed, people evolve, society evolve, except in Africa or except you who doesn't want to evolve, but everything changes given the time. People realized that it was time for them to evolve, and they started evolving. You know, the thing I realized with us Africans is that we complain about our leaders being authoritarians and dictators, and at the same time, we ourselves are not willing to be free. We complain that our leaders are maltreating us, our leaders have taken us for granted, and our leaders have curtailed our freedom of speech and freedom of expression, while at the same time, not really willing to be free. Because if you are someone who believes in freedom of speech, freedom of expression, freedom of association, you will not be saying that some people deciding on what to do about themselves or do with themselves was wrong. You will not be saying that if I decide to do this that I think is beneficial to me, I would be wrong. You won't say that. You want the government involved in the lives of people. You would not want that because you believe in freedom of speech, you believe in freedom of expression, and you believe that people have the right to choose. You will not want the government involved. And one thing he said that was really, really interesting to me, and this same thing is what politicians in Africa have used to divide the people and control them, is the whole same-sex agenda in Africa. And according to them, or according to him, this is a Joe Biden, Kamala Harris agenda being pushed down the throat of Africans. I wonder if Kamala is forcing anyone to become an agege. I wonder if Kamala has told anyone that when you become an agege, we will then ask you to come and live with us in America. I wonder. And let me just ask this question to those of you out there who are still with the impression that this whole same-sex issue in Africa is a Western agenda. Ask yourself, the first anti-LGBTQ laws that were put in place in the continent were done or was done by who? Ask yourself. In Uganda, in, I think, Tanzania, in Ghana, in Nigeria. Read your history, and you will see that those laws were put in place by the colonial masters many, many years ago, not today. Which means that Africans have always engaged in same-sex activities. They have always done that. Now, you might say, yes, they have, but it was in secret. And the issue now is that they are trying to rub it on our faces. That might be true. That is a very legitimate argument to make. But I would say that many people in Africa still believe that all the same-sex issues are being brought by Westerners. And according to them, the Westerners have a sinister agenda to break our traditional families apart. That is what they think. Hunger wouldn't break them apart. Starvation wouldn't break them apart. Insecurity would not break the families apart. Just same-sex activities would come and destroy everything. That's what they want us to believe. That's what they want us to believe. So, listen, okay? Listen. I think that on this particular topic, VDM is biased. And I know humans are very biased and emotional animals. I get that. But I think his preconceived ideas on this topic have totally beclouded his reasoning. That is what I think. And I think that he is against certain people whom he considered to be LGBTQ in Nigeria. And so that hatred towards them has beclouded every single thing. Now, the bill in Ghana that was voted by Parliament wasn't signed into law by Nana Akufo-Addo. To the best of my knowledge, he has not signed it. The one in Uganda has been signed into law. I think Nigeria also has a similar bill in place. And most countries have those laws in place that severely punish people who engage in same-sex activities. But how has that stopped anything? How has that made anything any better? Now listen, this is a principle I go by. If people are living their lives, if people are doing their own thing, if people are minding their own business, and their activities doesn't directly affect you, by all means, let them be. Each to theirs. You do you, I do me, and we all just get along. But if someone's activities were affecting the lives of other people, then I would say this is not acceptable. That's how I go. And let me just give you this one thing to ponder about. Ask yourself this, and I usually ask this question. Ask yourself this. What if all the so-called agege were apprehended, were rounded up, were imprisoned, or were just pie? How much better would your life become? No, you just tell me. Would anything significant happen to your life? Just let me know that in the comment section below.